Meet Jean Donahue, a rhubarb grower.
Hear that crack? That's when you know you got one.
Splitting and replanting rhubarb plants is how Jean Donahue of Hue Hill Farms has built her rhubarb empire. Okay, it's not exactly an empire, but still, it's an impressive-looking patch.
When we moved to the farm, there was some rhubarb and garlic here from my husband's grandmother. And I noticed that the rhubarb prevented weeds from growing wherever it was, because it comes up early in the spring. It's got huge, giant leaves. So I thought that would be a good way to keep the grass out. And then I slowly started putting it along the edge of my herb bed. All the plants here came from an original row of plants, of about 10 to 20 plants.
Rhubarb is a perennial, and you may have seen a plant or two or more in backyards all over Iowa, especially in farmyards.
I think a lot of farms have a lot of rhubarb on them because it doesn't go away. And it doesn't need a lot of care.
Botanically speaking, rhubarb is a vegetable, but we eat it like a fruit. It originated in Asia, where it was used for medicinal purposes. These days, in culinary use, rhubarb is usually combined with sugar to take the edge off its tart taste. The entire stalk is edible, but not the leaves. They're toxic. Stalk color can range from red to pink to green.
So the variety of rhubarb we have is a Victoria strain. So it's green at the top. Some is greener than others, and then it variegates to red at the bottom. And the inside is green and not red.
In a normal growing season, Jean and her helpers start harvesting rhubarb as soon as the stalks are long enough, usually in March or April, and stop in about mid-June so the plant can rejuvenate itself. And how much rhubarb can come out of a patch this size at the peak of the season?
Between 80 to 100 pounds a week is what I have been picking, because everybody's rhubarb hungry, I guess.
Besides including rhubarb in her own CSA, community-supported agriculture offerings, Jean also works with another area farmer to get her rhubarb into the hands of local chefs.
I did have a market developed for rhubarb, but I didn't have a supply. And Jean had a supply, but she didn't have a market, and we're friends, and I know that it's good food.
Transporting good local food like rhubarb to Iowa chefs can be a logistical challenge for farmers like Jean and Derek. Everything needs to be done in a hurry because the fresher the produce, the better the flavor.
By the time somebody's eating it, it's just been this like relay race of this item that was fresh and alive to it being prepared.
For now, Jean is satisfied with propagating her rhubarb plants and providing the crop to local customers who are hungry for rhubarb in the spring and early summer. And she gives this advice to those of us wanting to start our own rhubarb patch.
I think the best start you can get is from your neighbor. Because if you go home and dig that in and plant it right away, it'll grow. And it doesn't take very much care.
So if you're admiring that rhubarb plant in your neighbor's yard, go ahead, knock on the door, ask if they might be willing to share. The plant won't mind a bit, and you'll be able to savor one of the first flavors of spring.